Do you have a moral code? And I want to talk about it. Hey guys, this is Andy with Mindset Matters More. And I'm thinking about how I live my life and whether I have a moral code. The only thing that I can think of is the idea of rigorous honesty. And that extends to you, to me, to my family, friends. And what does that mean? Rigorous honesty. It's rigorous honesty in action. It's rigorous honesty in your words. It's rigorous honesty in your thoughts. And sometimes I wind up getting somebody who asks me for advice and they want to tell a little fib, okay? Just so that they don't have to suffer the consequences of whatever it is. And I always say, you can't do that. You have to be honest. You owe the other person the honesty of what really happened. And they always say, okay, well, why? What's the harm in the little fib? Okay, well, what's the harm in a little truth? If a little fib isn't going to harm anybody, then the truth obviously won't harm anybody either. And you also have to have the self-knowledge and the self-strength to be able to withstand any consequences. It's always better to make it right, because the worst thing that could happen is if you lie, then moving forward, you're also going to be creating a second challenge for yourself, not only of the first thing that you lied about, but also the fact that you lied. So you're compounding what the consequences are. So you might as well take the first consequence, because that one's going to be the easier of the two. And let alone if you keep telling more and more lies on top of it. Now, how does that extend to your actions and to your thoughts? Well, when you tell somebody that you're going to do something, you fucking do it. Okay. If you tell somebody, yes, I will think about it, then you actually think about it. If you tell somebody that I don't know what the third thing was going to be. My mind just blanked. Nevertheless, in your own thoughts, it's kind of tricky, because you have to actually decipher whether A, you're telling the truth to yourself, and B, what are the stories that you're telling yourself that aren't quite true? What are the beliefs that you have that aren't necessarily true? So for instance, one of the things that I have been learning for myself is that I'm actually kind of an outgoing person. Like, yeah, I've always been outgoing, but when it comes to new situations in terms of a professional level, that I have always thought that I have not been worthy to be in those rooms, that people would see me as kind of a fraud, right? However, what I've been coming to the conclusion is that when I step into these rooms with other professionals, they're just people too. It's not that I'm not worthy. It's not a matter of worth. It's a matter of the fact that, like, we're all just people. And for some reason, I don't see myself as people. I see myself as a part, as separate. And so stepping into these rooms, so the other day I went to a networking event where I got to meet the state representatives for different parts of my state. And they were just people. They were enthusiastic about the topics for local government, for state government, and that they were just people. I mean, even when I worked as an engineer, that I spent time talking to the president of the company. I spent time talking to the vice presidents of them. But back then, that came from a sense of, you're not better than me, asshole. I'm just going to talk to you just like you're one of us little peons here. That was more out of spite rather than an equivalence of we're just people. So, I tried to channel that a little bit recently, but that doesn't feel genuine. That doesn't feel honest, because I don't feel like I'm better than anybody. I feel like I am a partner to somebody. Like, I am equal. We are both in this game of life together, trying to figure this shit out, trying to make a living, trying to be entrepreneurs, trying to be, just a part of society. And so that to me was like not only truth in thought, but also truth in action, is that I know that I am living in accordance with my belief systems by being being a part of society. And let me tell you, my rigorous honesty can get kind of annoying because, there have been times where like I've been given back change, an extra $5 or $10 when I'm at the supermarket or at Starbucks or something, and they give me the wrong thing. And I'm like, oh, you know what? This actually just happened to me. I was at the nail salon and I did my nails, I did my pedicure, and I also got my eyebrows done. And the girl only charged me for my nails. And I was like, oh, does this price include my eyebrows? Because it seemed a little bit less than I've always, paid. And she was like, oh, no, sorry. Thanks for being honest. And I was like, yeah, great. Like, to me, other people would have just been like, ooh, bonus, I don't have to pay for my eyebrows. But like, no, a part of me cannot leave that place and not bring about bad karma if I do not say something. Like, to me, I have to say something. And, it is what it is, right? You live your life of rigorous honesty, and you just have to know that you as a person are strong enough to pay the extra $10 to overcome whatever anger, ire, hate that comes your way because of your mess up or whatever it is. Like, you have to just know that you can make it right. You say, hey, I fucked up, and you do it. So rigorous honesty in your words, thoughts, and actions, that's kind of like the code that I live by. And I feel like, you can have any other code you want, but to me, that in and of itself is going to just extend to the other areas of my life. You always got to have a code. And so tell me what your code is. Shoot me a DM on Instagram at Coach Andy Hoffer. Let me know if you live by a code. And I'm curious to know if you've ever failed at your own code, and what do you do if you fail at your own code? Okay? Love you guys. Bye.